everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalie and this is where I share what I've been making, usually in the form of knitting, sometimes gardening and sometimes other crafts as well. So today I have some finished objects to share with you. I also have been working on the garden today and this week. So I've tacked on some garden updates at the end of this video, so those of you who are interested, feel free to stay till the end to watch that. So let's begin with the finished objects. So the first finished object is what I'm wearing. So this is the Tucker Tee by Alicia Plummer. So I decided to make mine scrappy because the original project or the original pattern is not intended to be scrappy but knit as one contiguous garment. But I decided to use up my scraps in the form of oranges, yellows and browns because I realized that I had a lot of random incomplete skeins in my stash. The garment calls for a sport weight yarn and is a 24 stitch gauge, and so I have quite a lot of fingering weight, sport weight and DK weight yarns in my stash. That seems to be the primary weight yarn that I have, so it works perfectly for this sweater. I didn't actually get needle gauge, so I ended up going down a needle size. I think I ended up using a 3.25, I believe, or 350. And I think the T calls for a 3.75. I'm not sure if I remember that correctly, but I know that I definitely had to go down a needle size. My overall opinion is that it is a great pattern. Like, it's a pattern that is designed to be well fitted, and I think I will definitely knit this pattern again, but I think I will follow the instructions more closely than I did this time around. I don't join the yarns as well as I could have. It fits okay at the top. Two issues with this top. One, the fact that it's such a scrappy project. Sometimes I was just using like the tiniest bit of yarn, so for the very thin stripes, and so there was a lot of yarn to weave in, and two, that caused some holes that I needed to go back and fix or secure. So there is that. So I don't know how long this top will hold on for, but I mean, I like the fact that it's quite fitted. As I've said numerous times, I'm more of a very small, either like zero ease or negative ease. I don't really like too much positive ease in my garments. And the second thing is completely on me with the garment construction. It's knit top down, and then you go immediately to work some short rows. Can't remember whether the pattern calls for Japanese short rows, because I've talked about Japanese short rows in the past, but I was recently introduced to Japanese short rows, and I can't remember whether it was because of this pattern or a previous pattern, but I will always use Japanese short rows in place of German short rows or wrap and turns, because it's just so easy to pick up the wraps. So rather than wrapping the yarn and then turning, you use a locking stitch marker to hold your place. You turn the yarn, carry on knitting or purling, you just pick up the yarn and knit that together. Perfect. You don't end up with any holes, and you don't have to faff with trying to pick up the wrap. So for me, it's a lot easier. So anyway, you start with shaping the back with the short rows, and then you knit in the round up until you need to split for the sleeves. Now, my issue is that with a garment, the modern mud cloth, because I split early for the sleeves with that garment and it worked out really well for me, I thought I would do the same, because with the tucker, you do your raglan increases, and then when you get to a certain point, you stop knitting in the round and you start to knit flat. So you have to work the front and back separately. Now, I did not do this, and I think it was because I just wasn't into knitting flat. I just wanted to continue to work in the round. With the raglan increases, you continue to do increases, but they're integrated differently while working flat. So rather than work out, okay, how many more increases do I need to do if I want to continue working in the round, didn't do that. And so this is what we are left with. I split for the sleeves a little bit too early. And so as a result, when I first put the top on, I need to do a lot of pulling and adjusting. Yeah. All in all, I mean, it's fine. My husband said that I looked very 70s today. And so, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And I think I will re-knit this top again and do it to pattern. The pattern also calls for a afterthought pocket. I'm not sure whether to stick with that. So this was my gauge swatch for the sweater. I didn't get gauge, so the gauge of the pocket is slightly bigger than the gauge of the top. So you're meant to add an afterthought pocket, but I'm unsure as to whether I am going to add it. Let me know in the comments whether you think I should add the afterthought pocket or not. I did add it before, but I wasn't happy with how it sat, so I removed it. So I'm unsure now. So let me know if you think I should add it or knit another one or what. I do like the look of it, but I don't know. Maybe I should just. I like the fact that the stripes don't match. It's quite discordant. I quite like that look. So I am drinking a cold brew with almond milk. A while back, I decided to purchase a couple of things that will help with creativity and inspiration. So I decided to invest in 2 stitch dictionaries. So I got Alternate and Knit Ovation by Andrea Rangel. And I was first introduced to Andrea Rangel when I did my knits in pop culture video, and I was researching for iconic knits. And she designed the Dude, like a replica of the Dude cardigan from The Big Lebowski. And so I got put on to who she was. And so I was looking for a colorwork stitch dictionary, and I think there have been a lot of designers who have taken inspiration from such stitch dictionaries. And it's really cool because she explains in one of the books that her husband is a graphic designer, and so he used to design colorwork charts for her, and then she used to knit them up. And so they just decided to create a couple of stitch dictionaries. And you literally just have, I don't want to give away any of the charts because obviously this is a paid for book, but it's just filled with photographs of really cool designs, and then you have the chart. So I'm sure there are a lot of designers who have taken inspiration from some of these colorwork charts and integrated it into their designs. It's such a cool thing to have because it means that you can take like this one colorwork chart and integrate it maybe as a repeating pattern or a an animation, as I have done, and so it gives you a lot to play with. And so I decided to knit my husband a beanie. So he really likes a band called Rocket from the Crypt, and their logo is a rocket. And I was looking at a pattern in the book, and he looked over my shoulder, and on another page he spotted this rocket, which he also has a tattoo of. The idea of just making it a repeated pattern on a beanie. And then I added the red colorwork design, and with the color choices and the stripes and everything. And yeah, and now he has a cool little beanie. With regards to number, gauge, etc., did not use a pattern. So this is just from the top of my head. And of course, beanies are pretty easy to do. But when he tried it on, it was way too short. Like it fit in the crown and everything, but my original cast on edge was here. So what I had to do was I just added some more ribbing. So I knit just over double the amount of ribbing that I originally had, and then I folded it over as a folded brim. And so it fits perfectly now. Obviously, it would have looked better if I hadn't have had to lengthen the beanie, but the main thing that matters is that it fits. He wears the beanies and the sweaters and stuff that I make for him often. The only thing is that he requested a hat with some cotton content, so I ended up using this extra fine merino cotton, 50% cotton, 50% merino by Hurta Garn. So yeah, it's very cool to the touch. And that's in that sort of medium grey colour. And so for the black, I think I also used the same yarn. And for the red, I used Woolstock worsted yarn. And yeah, for the cream, just some yarn that I had in stash. I don't remember. I think it was a brand called Eden Cottage Yarns that I got as a gift from my mother-in-law a few years ago, but I don't remember any more than that. Sorry. That's the first wearable that I've made using the book. But as you can see, I have bookmarked loads, and I have lots of ideas regarding what I want to do with this. There isn't very much difference between the two, but if you did want to get one, I think this one is more, you've got sort of more quirky designs, whereas this one is like more traditional floral leaves and things like that. So, but I'm happy that I have both. I want to try to integrate into a sweater pattern that I have. So I have a sweater pattern by Ozetta, and I've had it in my stash for a while now and haven't knit it yet. And it is a chunky turtleneck sweater, and I have the yarn in stash. It's called I think it's the Winter's Tale pullover, something about winter, something, the Winter's pullover, something like that, by Ozetta. And what I want to try to do is integrate the pattern that I found in here as an all over colorwork design. However, I've looked closely at the construction, and I think it's a set in sleeve construction, and you start at, or no, it's a drop sleeve, sorry, it's a drop sleeve construction where you start at the back, you work short rows, and then you work the other side you form the back, and then you cast on for the front of the sweater. So I'm thinking, because of the short rows that you have to work first, I am thinking that it's best to omit the design on the back piece, and then only start the design once I cast on for the front half of the sweater. That's what I'm thinking. I haven't swatched for it, or I haven't looked too closely into how I could integrate the design, but that's my initial thought. But that's the point of having these stitch dictionaries at my disposal. Just means that, one, I spend less on one singular pattern. So obviously one of those books costs maybe like the price of, let's say, 4 or 5 patterns. But within that, even though you don't get the numbers for the garments for your size, and like I've proved here, it means that I can make mistakes with the fit. If I already have a pattern, a plain pattern in my stash, it means that I can apply the charts to the garment pattern. And the cool thing is that it also, for each chart, it also tells you, this is a 8 stitch repeated pattern, or a 12 stitch repeated pattern. So you can look at the numbers and adjust the numbers accordingly, so that you get the perfect amount of repeats for the amount of stitches that you have, or what have you. So it's not too much of a hardship to adapt the charts to whatever pattern you want to apply it to. So I'm looking forward to using the Stitch Dictionary like that. So I do wonder anything about copyright within the book, whether, say for example, there is a sock designer, let's say, who has made a living selling socks, whether they have used a Stitch dictionary to find the charts, and then they've just applied the charts to, let's say, a vanilla sock or something like that. I wonder if people do that, and I wonder what the ethics of that is. I'm not, trying to judge anyone, but it's just something that I have wondered about. In my last episode, I showed a swatch of a simple quad design using 2 contrasting colours from Stash. I wanted to apply it to this college day sweater vest, a free pattern by Drops, opting for green and pink as my contrasting colours. But once I had knitted a few rounds, I realised that the colours were not contrasting enough to see the colourwork pattern clearly. So unfortunately decided to frog this project and move on to something else. So as I said in my last video, I have got a new job. So I have been working from home in various capacities since 2019. And I have been doing many different things for work from home. And my husband also works from home. So sometimes it can get a bit much. And so I have just been casually looking for something else, something to get me out. Something came my way, and it's local to me, and it means that I get out. And I don't mean like get out of the house, it brings me out. So I am literally working in the bush. I now work for a nature reserve. It's a conservation project. It's really cool what they're doing. It's like an eco site, and it means that I am outside working in nature in all weathers. It means that my knitwear really gets to shine. And so to celebrate, I thought I would cast on something very apt. So that brings me on to my first whip, and it is the Talvinnen by Caitlin Hunter. So this will be my third Caitlin Hunter sweater, and I definitely am not mad about it. I don't know, just something about her patterns that speak to me. I'm not always in love with the way the yoke fits, because I think that I've seen the new sweater that she has out, the King Salmon. Um, so it's similar to the halibut, but it's salmon, and that yoke is very long because obviously salmon's quite a long fish, and I think that's modeled on the way the sweater fits as well. So I don't know whether I could get away with wearing something like that, but the yoke is very long. It's like the you split for the sleeves around, your bust or something like that. I'm not sure. So I'm excited to see how other samples and other people's projects look when that all comes out. But anyway, it's one of her old designs, and you have it's a very birdy design. This will just look amazing in my new job.
Lisa, how could you forget something like that?
Hey, I'm beautiful, I'm charming, I'm always in fashion. You can't expect me to worry about minor details, too.
So I decided to do one of the birds a different color to really stand out. Ideally, so this should be the center, and I made a mistake in which bird I wanted. I didn't want it to be the center bird, so I'm a bit bummed about that, but I'm sure it'll be fine. For the yarn, I'm using Drops Lima, which is a wool and alpaca mix with a 21 stitch gauge. And my contrast colors are Woolly Knit Cone in the dark brown, which I've also used in this sweater. So it is a fingering weight yarn, but I'm holding it double to get a DK. That's the back, and that's the front. But yeah, this yarn, I just had a load in stash that I'd never used. This is the first time that I'm using it, and it feels great. It's very affordable. It's, as you know, as all of Drops. So yeah, so I'm really enjoying this knit. Oh, also there is a third color, which is Woolly Knit Cone in this burgundy that I had in stash. So that's my first whip. Second whip is also from my Stitch dictionary, and it is this simple cowl that I'm making, because I do find that, I know I said a few episodes ago that I need to slow down in making cowls, but I honestly do wear them all the time. And I feel like getting this new job where I'm outside, I feel like no matter what the weather's like, I do need to protect my throat and my neck. And I also am an asthma sufferer, so having my neck warm really helps out my condition. So this is a cowl using a design in there. It's like a braided color work design, and I'm just repeating the pattern. And yes, I will probably just make it look quite small, but I'm fairly confident that it will stretch and be enough to be quite snug around the neck, which is what I want. Because I do find that I do have my go-to cowls, and after a few wears, they do get a little bit stretched out, which it's still fine, still works, especially if I tuck them into my top. But sometimes I do want one that kind of stays snug. And I think with the floats, that will help it to keep its shape as well. So yes, I am working on this pretty slowly. It's pretty easy to memorize. It's a 6-row repeat pattern. over 9 stitches. And yeah, I think that will make quite a cute cowl. I probably make it quite long so that, I don't know. So yeah, so that's my second whip. Oh, the yarn I'm using. So this is the last of the cream yarn that I used for the background color here. And it's, yeah, I was in hospital. I had to have an operation a few years back, and then I was on bed rest. And so my mother-in-law just bought me a load of this Eden Cottage yarns. And I've been using it for years in various projects. And this is literally the very last skein. So I thought I would use it up for this nice, cute pattern. And the red is some of this mini skein, and that is Blue Sky Fibers, and it's 100% fine Highland wool, and that's Woolstock worsted. So this is really nice yarn actually, and the color is Red Rock. I actually might purchase a full skein of this because it is lovely, lovely yarn. And of course, my mainstay whip. So this is a stalwart in my whip lineup. But this is the update on it. I still need to wind up some black yarn to finish the ribbing. But yeah, so we are on the ribbing. So we're almost finished the body. I think what I'm going to do is have quite a long rib for this top, just to break up the busyness of the body. And then I'm going to start on the sleeve. So actually, I think in the past I said that I was using, I think, a 4mm needle, which I was completely incorrect about. For the body, I used a 3.5 needle, and then for the ribbing, I actually went up a needle size, which that's just something that I'm going to start to do because I prefer the fit of a looser gauge ribbing rather than constricting. Rather than going in at the waist, I want a ribbing that is just straight down in the body. So I went up, I put it on 4mm needles to do the ribbing, and I will probably do like 10 centimeters of ribbing and see, and then I will try it on to see how that fits. Hi everyone, welcome to my greenhouse. So let me show you my April greenhouse. So this is my grape. I've had her for about 3 years now, and as you can see there is still some old growth, last year's growth, but it's flourishing already. It's got some mini grapes on it already. And so I haven't got as many things up and running yet, but I'll just show you what I have got so far. So we have some French beans, and they will just climb up here. We've got 3 in the pot. Behind them we've got some ginger. I've just recently planted those, so hopefully they will shoot up. The rhizomes will shoot up a plant, and then as they grow, the rhizome will get bigger, which can be harvested and eaten. Then we've got my orange tree and the lemon. The lemon hasn't been so well for the last year or so, but it's put on quite a lot of new growth, so hopefully it's getting better. Then, so these plants here, this one, that one, over there, and this one, these are peanuts. I thought it would be fun to grow peanuts as an annual. So they grow, plants grow, and then you harvest it at the end of summer, and you just have peanuts at the bottom as individual rhizomes. So that should be fun. Got some strawberries, berries, what are they called? No, not blueberries.
Blackberry.
Yes, blackberry plants, French beans, and broad beans that I need to plant up. Oh, that's a broccoli, so I've already planted those, but I don't have enough room for them out front. So, and then this is the tortoise tray. I haven't got a lot on the go because I don't know whether I'm actually going to grow much for the tortoise in the greenhouse, because his enclosure has a lot of edible plants already flourishing in there, and he can just harvest what he wants himself. So yeah, but anyway, I do have some lettuce there for him and some plantain plants. So I have a couple of strawberries, and then the rest are cucumbers, so I need to plant those up into a bigger pot to grow on. And yeah, so far that's what we have in the greenhouse. Come back soon. So subscriber Gretchen Metzler wanted to know what I had figured out to keep white cabbage butterflies from eating my cabbages, and this is it. I thoroughly inspected the plants before planting, hosed them down a couple of times and planted them. Then I covered them immediately after with insect netting. I used these pegs to secure the netting all the way around and have been regularly checking the perimeter to make sure everything is secured. I've done the best I can, so if any eggs or butterflies do get in, they deserve the plants, because they truly have outsmarted me. Because sometimes nature just finds a way.